All right, let's jump right in. We're going to drop you into the middle of a candid, real-time conversation that's happening right now in the self-storage industry. And look, this isn't some polished press release or a stuffy speech. This is operators talking shop, completely unfiltered. So what we've done is distill one of their recent meetups for you. Think of this as your fly on the wall pass to really get what's going on. The anxieties, the strategies, the personal connections, all straight from the folks on the front lines of this business. And it became clear almost immediately that one topic was just dominating the chatter, sending these ripples of concern through the whole community. It's a story that kicks off in New York City, but believe me, it has operators all over the country on high alert. That topic? It's a huge landmark lawsuit filed by the city of New York against Extra Space Storage. We're talking about one of the biggest self-storage REITs, that's real estate investment trusts, in the entire world. And the allegations? They're serious. Yeah, the heart of the complaint, which this local news report just nails, is a classic bait and switch. The city is basically saying that customers are being lured in with these really attractive prices, only to see them change, sometimes dramatically, right after they've moved all their stuff in. But it actually goes a lot deeper than just that. The lawsuit, which is based on more than 100 consumer complaints, it paints a really grim picture. It talks about these deceptively low teaser rates, sure, but also aggressive, rapid-fire price hikes. And then it bundles in other allegations, like threatening to sell people's belongings, and even really poor facility conditions like vermin and mold. It's a full-on attack on the company's business practices. Okay, so you might be wondering, why does a lawsuit in New York City have an operator in, say, Michigan or Texas so worried? Well, it's because in this industry, what starts in one city rarely ever stays there. And this is where the real fear starts to kick in for everyone. This operator right here just absolutely nails the industry's biggest fear. The playbook is something they've all seen before. A lawsuit works in one place and then suddenly, bam, similar legal challenges get cloned and start popping up in other cities and states. The concern is that this isn't just one isolated event. It's the first domino to fall. And you can just feel the raw frustration in this quote from one of the smaller independent operators. There's this powerful feeling that the aggressive tactics of a few massive companies are putting the entire industry under a microscope, and now everyone has to deal with the fallout and the threat of new regulations. So it all boils down to this, right? This is the billion-dollar question hanging over everyone's head. Are the controversial pricing strategies of the biggest players about to jeopardize the whole industry's freedom and light touch regulation? But hey, in the face of this threat, operators aren't just sitting around complaining. No way. They're strategizing. The conversation turned pretty quickly to how they can build a business model that's actually resilient to this kind of legal and public backlash. And what came out of it was this really clear contrast in philosophy. You've got the replaybook, which is all about volume. Get customers in the door with super cheap rates, then hike them hard, and just accept that a lot of people are going to leave. It's just a cost of doing business. But the independent's response, it's a long-term bet on trust. It means starting with a more honest rate, maybe offering guarantees, because they believe a happy, stable customer is way more profitable in the long run than constantly replacing angry ones. And this focus on building a resilient business, it goes way beyond just pricing. The group was sharing some incredibly practical advice. For instance, one expert gave this warning about something as seemingly simple as changing your management software. She stressed you have to talk to all your vendors first. Your gate company, your website provider, everybody. A sloppy switch can absolutely tank your website's search ranking or cost you thousands in hidden fees. It's another one of those areas where planning ahead is just non-negotiable. But, beyond the spreadsheets and the legal threats, the conversation revealed something really profound about the people in this business. The group actually took a moment to pause, and in that moment, they showed the deep personal bonds that really tie this whole community together. They took time to honor the memory of Dana Burns, a really beloved industry figure who had passed away just the day before after a sudden, fierce battle with cancer. It was just a powerful reminder that behind all the competition and balance sheets, these are real people who really support each other. The tributes just poured in. You had colleagues remembering her as a powerhouse, a huge advocate for women in the industry, and simply a vibrant light. This moment really drove home that for all the talk about rates and regulations, this is an industry built on relationships. And that's why the reputational damage from a lawsuit hit so hard. It's not just about business, it's personal. So after that heartfelt moment, The conversation swung back to the central challenge it started with. How do you price your units fairly and sustainably, especially in a world that's getting more and more hostile to that whole bait and switch model? And to get a sense of the scale of what they're up against, just listen to this anecdote that was shared. An operator told the story of his friend in Austin, Texas, who rented a 10 by 20 unit for $270 a month. 18 months later, after a whole series of relentless rate hikes, his monthly rent was $650. I mean, that's the kind of thing that fuels outrage and, well, lawsuits. So what's the antidote? In a word, transparency. Operators are trying out all these new tactics. Some are guaranteeing a customer's rate for the entire first year. Others are creating these good, better, best pricing tiers, where the premium option actually includes a long-term rate lock. The key seems to be being loud and proud about it, advertising a no-hike policy right on their website, basically turning the industry's biggest PR nightmare into their greatest selling point. This all brings us to a final, really critical question. As the threat of lawsuits and regulation keeps growing, that old playbook of opaque, aggressive pricing, well, it seems to be on borrowed time. So for every operator out there, big or small, the question is becoming whether the best defense is a good offense, making radical transparency not just a policy, but their most valuable asset. What do you think?